America has had one crisis after another. First came COVID-19 with the economic shutdown, and then a resurgence of the virus. The result is fear and uncertainty. But you should know something that will change your life. Get ready to change your life right now with 4 things that great leaders do to manage the steps to reaching their goals. Pay attention to number 3, which is all about creating massive action through breaking up steps into smaller tasks to get even more done now. Are you ready to move forward? If so, let's flow. And before we dive in, please hit that like button, click that subscribe, and ring that bell. We really do appreciate the support. And that subscribe button could use more attention. Welcome to this Dancing in Life podcast, and welcome back to my 30-day challenge. I'm Saje here with you on Wisdom Wednesday. Over the next 4 weeks, we're going to be focusing together on steps that you can take to become a better you. I'll be sharing stories of how everyday heroes dance with life to make the world a better place, and how they can find new hope after trials and tribulations. Everyone knows that the last 12 months have been earth-shaking, but we can make up the next 12 months a triumph starting now. Today, we're going to look together at how you can learn from experiences. The big idea here is that when you break up your time into categories or chunks, you can process your daily or even long-term goals more easily. On my journey into training to become a speaker who can share from my heart without fear, I decided to commit and do a 24-hour live stream on YouTube to launch my YouTube channel, Sage Flow, and give away $5,000. I had just finished doing a 90 podcast in 30 days, which I share on another podcast. When I made that commitment and decision to do it on 11/11, it became real. The problem was I hadn't done a 24-hour live stream event. When you go live, anything goes. And at times, my old self would wonder if I was up to the task of singing, dancing, and sharing stories for 24 hours straight. I believe that everyone who has a goal or purpose that they are passionate about, they can figure out a way to achieve that goal. And one way is to break that big task down into smaller pieces. And by making a big outcome into smaller pieces, you can take on things step by step and create magic. But there would be some shadow of doubt that may creep in at times of, do I have what it takes to go for 24 hours of just serving? The stakes were high as I publicly declared that I would be doing it, and I would be doing it live. And then I started to visualize my success over and over and over again. I remember how I guided myself to do a 2-day Empower Your Flow event in LA, even though I hadn't done any live events before. My plan was simple. I reframed and changed the question from, will I be able to sustain my energy, to how easy will it be to sustain my energy? And how about, instead of focusing on the whole 24 hours, I break it down hour by hour. I created a master spreadsheet where I broke it down into 5 to 10 minute segments and increments to break it down even more, so it's even more easy to digest. A lot was on the line as people tuned in from all over the world. Around 15 hours into the live stream, it was about 3 a.m. my time, I started to really feel tired. And it felt like a challenge, bringing all the energy back to be present and to serve wholeheartedly. And it may have seemed challenging in that moment, but again, I shifted and I made it easy. So right away, I start to sing and dance and just dig in deep so I have more to share with Flow Army. I decided it was going to be easy. It was like an energy that came through me. as one of the number one questions that people asked me after the event was, how did you maintain your energy? And I shared, it's a different level of energy when you are just sharing and serving. I shared, joking, that I didn't even drink coffee. And we had over 100 winners tuning in from all over the world. And my YouTube channel subscribers went over 900 with people tuning in. It was an incredible, heartwarming experience. I had stayed up for 30 hours straight, planning before and breaking down and reviewing with the team afterwards as well. You see, by making a big outcome into small pieces, you can take things step by step and do something you may once thought was not possible. Here are suggestions to help you break a big task into smaller pieces. Each is an action step that you can do right away when you see it on your to-do list. First is to define it. Is it a project or a task? A task is something that you can do more or less in one sitting. And if something takes you several months or weeks, multiply days or even the better part of a day. It is best to think of your task as a project. And if it's a project, break it down into milestones. If a project spans, let's say, over a couple of months, then break it down into milestones. If a project spans multiple weeks of work, create weekly milestones. There are different ways to break a project into milestones, and the best way depends on the nature. But it is always important to be clearly defined when reaching a milestone. Here are a few ways a large project can be broken down into smaller chunks. Different categories, for example, when planning a party, entertainment, food, invitations. Different parts, for example, when cleaning your house, say, break it down into your living room, your bathroom, your bedroom. And at this step, you don't have to think about all the tasks inside of the project. You are just right now breaking it down into smaller chunks, so it'll be easier to think of all the action steps involved. And then list out the steps. Take your large task or project and envision down to the individual steps that you will do to finish the project. Write each one down and don't worry much yet if the steps are too long or short. Just write every step down in a brainstorm kind of way. And if you are struggling with thinking of concrete action steps, it might be a sign that you're not familiar enough with the type of project or task and need more information, which is okay. In that case, just think of the steps that you need to take in order to just get more clarity. Figure out who can help me on project X. Maybe even reaching out to another person to ask them for advice or feedback. And maybe about digging in and reading up or Googling how would you create this project, right? Researching is what I'm saying. Sometimes a project is very complex and needs more research, and you need to be more flexible because you can't list all the steps out there. And in that case, list out 2 or 3 action steps right ahead of you so you have something to progress and move forward. After this step, you can list out a much smaller step already. Now, ask yourself for each step, realistically, how long will this take you? If a task will take you less than an hour to do, but still feels a bit complex, break it down further. Break multiple steps, tasks into single steps. Often, multi-step task uses words like do or finish. Try to use more specific verbs for your smaller tasks. The more specific the verb, the easier it will be for your brain to ease into the action when it's time to get it done. For example, if your project or task is, to paint the house, you can break it down into, okay, where do I need to get the paint? Where can I buy the paintbrush? What kind of paintbrush is that? And this will help you create momentum. And momentum builds up to reaching larger goals. It's time now to take our powerful flow action to get you moving forward now. Today's action is called pyramid exercise. Here are the steps for today's action. Take out a piece of paper and draw a pyramid. And on top of that pyramid, for step 2, write the goal or outcome that you want. And then step 3, write detailed actionable steps. You can start with 3 actionable steps. Just 3 steps so you can visualize instead of what will it take to get to that outcome, that big outcome. And there are these 3 steps in there that you can share and tag a friend of what you learned this week and a friend who needs to hear it. Maybe you see a friend who's struggling for some outcome and they get thrown off the tracks at times. I could see have this visual of a pyramid and 3 steps inside the pyramid that will help elevate them to reaching their outcome. The hope here is that you can break up your time into chunks so you can process daily and long-term goals more easily. I want to thank you for being with me on Dancing Life and for this 30-day challenge. I'm Saje, and I look forward to spending time with you tomorrow for Architect Thursday, when we look together at how planning milestones for both big and smaller goals helps you to celebrate your progress. And if you like what you find in this series, you'll definitely want to check out my free 7-day challenge, which is available in the description below that you can check out now. And remember, dancing in life, we're changing your life one step at a time. Until then, flow on.